Welcome back. This is part 3 of our 12-part series, What You Should Be Doing Right Now. It is now March and we are beginning the transition from the wood burning season to the wood cutting season. In this episode, we will be reviewing first aid and tying up those loose ends when it comes to our gear. But first, let's take a look at what kind of wood we should be feeding our stoves this shoulder season. As the days get longer, the temperatures begin to climb, bringing on the spring thaw. For wood burners, this, along with autumn, is known as the shoulder season, the transition time between the peak and off seasons. Just as we have specific criteria for selecting desirable woods to burn during the dead of winter, there are also several factors to consider when selecting firewood during the shoulder season. In December, January, and February, we were trying to pack as many BTUs in each load as possible. With the warmer temperatures that we typically experience during March, this is no longer the case. Now is the time to burn those ugly odds and end pieces that don't fit so well into the firebox. Even punky wood can be a good choice during the shoulder season. Softer woods like pine, cedar, and maple are appropriate for this time of year. Harder woods like oak and locust can burn too well, making your home uncomfortably warm. During the shoulder season, fires should be less frequent and well-timed. For instance, if you use your stove for cooking, it would be wise to do little burning between meals. Many wood burners have a tendency to build an oversized fire and then dampen it heavily, causing it to smolder. Others use green, wet wood and experience the same outcome. Both of these practices are to be discouraged as smoldering fires lead to the rapid buildup of creosote, putting you and your family at risk of a chimney fire. Even if you are burning appropriately for the season, it is still likely that your smaller, less frequent fires are producing a significantly larger amount of creosote than the hot, constant burning of winter. And for this reason, it is important that you keep up on your chimney and flue inspections. For information on that process, check out the January video of this series. Anytime you fire up a saw or run a wood splitter, you are putting yourself at risk for a potentially life-threatening injury. Even the wood itself can cause serious damage, even breaking bones. Before we get back to the woods, let's take some time to review some of the basic first aid techniques that I hope you will never have to use. While it's not something that we like to discuss, it is a harsh truth that the woodcutting process can be very dangerous. When using chainsaws, wood splitters, and axes, and when felling and bucking trees, we are putting ourselves in harm's way. It is vital that every woodcutter has a working knowledge of first aid. In this segment, we will focus on the techniques that will be of the greatest benefit to woodcutters. First aid is, simply put, the treatment a sick or injured person receives until full medical treatment can be obtained, and is often the difference between life and death. First aid may be carried out by the injured party, but often it's done more effectively by another person. Before heading out to process firewood, you should take a few precautions. First and foremost, wear your PPE. Items like safety glasses and chainsaw chaps are designed to prevent life-threatening injuries. Be sure to take frequent breaks and keep well hydrated. Keep a basic first aid kit equipped with bandages, tape, scissors, and gauze. Antiseptic, eye wash, splinting materials, and antibacterial cream are also good to keep on hand. Before using any of the procedures in this video, assess the injured person. Call 911 if the injuries are serious. Stay on the line while you begin first aid. A traumatic injury can cause a person to go into shock. Keep an eye out for these warning signs. Pale, cold skin that may appear gray. Rapid pulse and breathing. Disorientation. Weakness. If you believe that the injured person is in shock, have them lay down. Elevate their feet unless their legs are the injured area. Do not move the person unnecessarily. Keep them still and calm. Cover them with a blanket, tarp, or extra clothing. Do not administer food or water. Monitor their breathing and be prepared to administer CPR. Splints are used to stabilize broken bones and to prevent further injury. Before applying a splint, first clean and dress any open wounds. Use antiseptic and antibacterial cream if you have it available. Sticks, tools, pipe, and even magazines and newspapers can be used as splinting materials. Begin splinting by placing some sort of cloth or cushion against the skin. Place splints on each side of the broken bone and secure it in place using bandages or tape. If using a magazine or newspaper to splint, wrap them around the injury and then fasten as before. Check on the splint periodically to ensure that swelling hasn't caused circulation to be cut off. Another method of splinting, known as buddy taping, is often used for broken fingers or toes. Place a piece of gauze between the broken digit and the healthy one, and then simply tape or bandage the two digits together. Use enough tape or bandage to immobilize the digit. It may be necessary to immobilize an arm after injury by using a sling. A sling can be made from cloth or clothing, like a shirt or jacket. Fold cloth into a long triangle and position the arm so that it is comfortable across the chest. With one point of the triangle at the elbow, bring the cloth around the injured arm and over the shoulder, tying the two ends together behind the neck. A second knot at the point behind the elbow may help to sling the cradle of the arm. Begin by having the injured person lay down and clean the wound as best as possible. Apply gauze or cloth to the wound using firm pressure. If blood soaks through the top layer of the gauze, add more without removing the old gauze. It can take up to 20 minutes for the bleeding to stop. If after 20 minutes the bleeding hasn't stopped, try applying pressure to the artery using your other hand. Once the bleeding has stopped, bind the gauze to the body using bandages, cloth, or tape. Do not remove the gauze. If the injured person is in danger of bleeding out and applying pressure does not help, a tourniquet can be used as a last resort. Use of a tourniquet is likely to lead to the loss of the limb. A length of strong cloth such as muslin or a strip of shirt can be used as a tourniquet. Avoid using narrow materials like wire, string, or rope. Your tourniquet should be at least 2 inches wide. Place the tourniquet between the wound and the heart with some sort of padding underneath. Do not place the tourniquet directly on the wound. Tie the tourniquet in an overhand knot using a screwdriver, wrench, or a stick as a torsion device. Tie the tourniquet over the torsion device using 2 more overhand knots. Tighten the torsion device by turning it in one direction until it is tight around the limb. Use another piece of cloth to attach the other end of the torsion device to the limb to keep the tourniquet tight. Get the injured person medical attention as quickly as possible. Don't let this video be the end of your education when it comes to first aid. Classes are typically available at little or no cost in even the smallest of communities. Get yourself certified. You won't regret it. By early March, many wood burners are feeling the itch to get back to cutting. But before you get back in the action, here is a reminder to give your gear a second look. Enjoy, and I will see you again for Part 4 in April. It is now the 13th hour of the 13th day of the 13th month of the wood burning season. The Firewood Hoarders Club really needs to get that calendar issue straightened out. As the weather warms, the demand on your wood stove decreases, and the urge to replenish your stacks begins to creep in. But before you go rushing back into the woods, you probably have a few loose ends that need tied up when it comes to your gear. Remember that frayed pull rope on your saw? How about that gas can that your buddy ran over with his truck? Or the gas can that you ran over with yours? You might want to get that stuff taken care of. It wouldn't hurt to give everything a brief inspection. Winter has a way of making you forget about the details when it comes to things like these. While you're at it, go ahead and fill your gas can with some fresh fuel, and mix up a fresh batch of 2-cycle for the saws as well, and change those spark plugs. If you actually got the oil drained out of your equipment last fall, good for you. Make sure you actually get some put back in before you go starting anything up. If you didn't get it drained, well, you better get on it now. And how about your first aid kit? I know you saw the video, and that's some pretty serious stuff, so make it a priority. Flag it. Add it to your action item list. Whatever makes you get it done. I don't want to see any of you even thinking about getting back in the field until you're fully prepared, and fully sober too.